This is huge. So the centerpiece of the Republican case was the testimony of this informant by the name Smirnoff, who claimed that Joe and Hunter Biden were bribed by this, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, by this Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, not to prosecute them. Well, it turns out not only was his testimony, and this was the centerpiece, Sean Hannity mentioned it 85 times. Jim Jordan, the head of the Judiciary Committee, the Republican, said it was the smoking gun. Well, it turns out it was the dud gun, the gun that didn't fire, not the smoking gun. It was all made up. It was all fabricated. But worse yet, where did it come from, Sam? Where did this fabricated story come from?
Russia.
Russian propaganda. Just as Donald Trump, we forget this, when he was strong-arming Zelensky to investigate Biden, everybody forgets the other thing he was trying to strong-arm Zelensky to do that led to his impeachment was to validate the Russian propaganda story that it was Ukraine, not Russia, that really intervened in the 2016 election on behalf of Clinton, not Trump. A total fabrication. So now Russian propaganda turns up again in the form of the supposed smoking gun that all of these Republicans jumped on. And there are only two incredibly dispiriting conclusions that can be drawn from this. One, that these Republicans, Jim Jordan, the head of Judiciary, James Comer, the head of investigations, are incredibly naive and easily duped by the Russians, which means they are clear threats to our national security, or worse yet, that somehow they're in cahoots with the Russians to smear their political opponents.
Don't you think it's dangerous to take it that far? Don't you think it's just these guys want anything possible to go against Biden, and they'll take Joe Blow up the street saying whatever? Don't you think it's a little bit far to say that
they're be dupes? But we don't want dupes running our government, do we?
Sure, that's fair to say.
Who are smart and who are not easily taken in.
Sure, I guess I'm just saying I think it's a lot to say without any evidence that they're Russian, backed or something.
Well, I didn't say that. I said they were in cahoots, and I didn't say that. I didn't say that's absolute or sure or even likely. I'm just saying there are only two possibilities. I agree with you. The first possibility that they're dupes is more likely, but that's not a very positive thing. That's not anything to smile about.
No, of course not.
Some of the highest officials in our government are so easily duped by the Russians. And, anyone who had followed the whole Ukrainian situation knew that testimony was bogus. It was long ago established in the impeachment hearings way back during the Trump administration by the testimony of Trump's own expert on Eastern Europe, Fiona Hill, that this idea that there was bribery from Burisma to the Bidens was Russian propaganda designed to undermine Joe Biden's bid for the presidency. In fact, as Fiona Hill and others testified, Joe Biden, in bouncing the Burisma prosecutor, was bouncing someone who wasn't prosecuting, who was corrupt, and was carrying out the policy of the United States government, the European Union, and the anti-corruption forces in Ukraine. So it's not like this should have come as a surprise to these dupes in the Republican leadership.
Dupes. Big old dupes.
I think, I hate to think that they could be in cahoots with the Russians, although that's not beyond the realm of possibility. But you don't want dupes, at the highest levels of our government.